Hey everybody, it's Qqcknd and welcome back to 5 Fact Friday. Let me just kind of get snuggled in here. This is my tattoo convention look. I'm honestly just waiting for John to come home. I picked out an outfit for him so we can just freaking go out the door. And I don't normally pick out outfits for him. He is his own man, but he has been wearing that same Chicago Bulls hoodie for a month. Somebody help me. Anyway, so Ethan, let's jump into 5 Fact Friday. Hopefully I can get all 5 questions done before John gets home. And then we go to the convention. I'm super excited about the convention. I know I've been kind of sour about it before and been like, oh, conventions are weird and everyone has wet tattoos and everyone's pretty much naked. And all of that still stays pretty true, but that's just Philadelphia, I guess. And they sell booze at the convention, so who's to say who can keep their clothes on and who can't? I will. But that's because the beer there is very expensive. So yeah, I'm going to the convention today. Hopefully I'll get tattooed. My number one, Derek Hooper, is there, so I'm trying to see him and meet his fiance because I haven't yet. And I also want to see Ashley Love. Everything else will be bonus. I feel like John doesn't really have tattoos, and since he said he would go with me, I feel like this will be a nice way to kind of demonstrate to him the other side of tattoo world. Be with me. I don't know if it's a great demonstration, but I think it's just a part of it. And I'm super stoked because I live really not that far from the convention center. A couple years ago, it took me 2 hours to get here, and now I think we're gonna take an Uber. It might only be $7. Ethan is covered in lipstick because I can't resist him. So I got a couple questions. I got my eyebrows professionally done yesterday. Let's just, Sorry, I wiped the makeup off my nose already, but So I had them professionally done. I had them done by a specialist. That's what she does. About face. The woman's name is Ursula. It took me a week for my appointment. I called her and I was like, hey, I'm downtown. Are you free? And she was like, not for 10 days. Did you want to book? So I was like, oh, damn, this is the real deal. And it was really awesome. She had her own brow studio. It was just her. She gave me a little thing and I sat down and she kind of told me she didn't just do it. It was about 30 minutes. She explained to me what I've been doing wrong. And that kind of the eyebrow I had in mind, the eyebrow I kind of see over and over and over again on Instagram, that's a great eyebrow, but it doesn't match every face. And she kind of told me that she wasn't going to shape my brow. She wasn't going to give me a brow shape, but she was just going to create brows that were supposed to be my natural brows given to me at birth. Oh my god, my nose is running, Ethan. It runs all the time. I had all these tissues, but then I moved them out of the view of the camera, so no one would know my dirty secret. So she gave me these super brows, the brows that I was born to have, and I think it's really cool. She took a lot of pictures before and after to kind of show me how everything was. She did one brow and took a picture of my face and had me relax all the muscles in my face and kind of put my shoulders back and my chin up, and then she covered one side of my face to show me and then the other, and it really goes to show what great brows can do for your face. And everyone's like, oh, brow culture, shut up with the brow culture and all this stuff, and it's hey, excuse me, brow culture? Really? Are you gonna attach culture to anything that people find interest in? And I saw this one video on YouTube that was recommended to me that was stop with the Instagram brows, and it had over 1 million views, and I'm okay, did you just give this guy $1,000 to talk shit? Because honestly, when I was done, she was your friends are gonna think that you had Botox, that you are 10 years younger. And I told her, like, my biggest problem is that people come up to me and they're like, you look so tired. Oh, is everything all right? Or like, are you tired, stressed? And she was like, because your brows, the way I had them, closed my eye. And that kind of makes sense because, like, I know the brow that's, like, really in trend right now is that, like, straight line. Like, arches are, like, so done. And she was like, no, like, get the eyebrow that makes you look good. Not the eyebrow that's, like, in trend. And I've seen, like, Michelle Phan, she has a video where she, like, blocks out her eyebrows and just gives herself this, like, straight line. And I was like, that's tight. Like, I want that eyebrow. But this, like, it's funny, like, I always said, like, I want Botox to, like, pull my eyebrows up because they close my eye. They just make me look like a freak. And now I don't look that way, just from, like, some professional eyebrow sculpting. And on my Instagram, I even called it eyebrow therapy because she, like, told me all that. If you lick the couch, I'll die. Oh, I see what you're doing. Making bread. So I really felt like it was, like, eyebrow therapy. And she was like, don't tweeze at home. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, she had all this year experience. And what I really liked is when I was done, because, like, obviously she sculpted my brows in a way where they're going to grow in awesome, but not all the brow was there because I've been plucking it with no idea, no roadmap, just, like, with tweezers. Like, I went to beauty school, I know. I don't. So, when we were completely done, she kind of showed me the hairs that we had to let grow in, and then she filled them in for me with, like, a felt tip marker kind of filler in her that I've never even heard of before. I think one time I saw one, I don't know who makes it, like Qcknd, and I was like, yeah, right, a felt tip freaking eyebrow. I'm sold. It made me look so good, and it was so effortless. She did it in, like, 5 seconds. It takes me, like, 10 minutes with my Anastasia pomade. Anyway, so that was $40, and I gave her a $15 tip because she changed my life. She really did. She really, like, did everything that was awesome. And not to talk shit on Ulta, but one time I went to their Benefit Brow Bar, and the lady smelled like cigs, and she was really mean, and a customer walked past her and was like, hey, and she went, like, what is that? I felt so weird after that. I was like, okay, once I'm done, I'm just gonna be to her. And I was like, you work at the brow bar. Like, brows are so important to women. Also, and when I had my eyebrows done at the brow bar, that was it. She, like, waxed them, and then it was done. And then I had to leave and spend the rest of my day with, like, these naked ass brows. And, like, my eyebrow hair is, like, pretty fine, so, like, give me a little something to dust through here. Ursula did it all, and I'm not comparing her to the brow bar. I'm not. But I never ever went back to the brow bar, and it was only $10 less than Ursula, and I am a completely new person. So that's how I feel about that. 10 minutes. But I also wanted to talk about, so I get a lot of questions like, hey, I moved to a new town, how do I make friends? Hey, I have a new job, how do I make new friends? And I'm a really quiet person, and I was telling this to John the other day, like, I feel like people, whenever I say something, people are like, she's coming out of her shell, or like, oh, you're so shy, I never know what you're gonna say. So the girls at my work recommended Ursula to me, and I was like, hey, I'll take the recommendation. Like, up until now, I thought I was doing my brows okay, so I didn't even think I needed to go. I did, wow. But I think, like, a great way to kind of communicate with your coworkers or make new friends in new situations is to take their advice. And I was really happy that I did, because when I came back, I got to talk to the girls who go to Ursula, and we had, like, a back and forth, and that was really cool to me. And I think taking people's advice sometimes can be really valuable. So, I don't know. I should make a whole video about that, though, and not just, like, touch on it for 5 Pack Friday. But there we go. So what is John's opinion of you living with his parents? Are frustrations a shared feeling? So I kind of talked about this on my Tumblr a little bit, which is why I think I got a question on Snapchat about it. And I think, like, when John and I did our 50 question tag, John was like, "You've lived here for 2 years." And I didn't really expect that to be the year. If this is your first time with me on 5 Fact Friday, John and I own a house, but he's building it. We have a lot of videos about John building the house, but if you watch any of them, you can kind of see that, like, it is not a place where we can live yet. So we live in his parents' house while he's building the house. I haven't really been helping a lot lately too, so I know things are slow. I recently got a job, so also there's not like a lot I know how to do, because John has been a carpenter for 10 years and I can barely lift my own arms. But I would say living together can get really, really frustrating, living with John's parents. This is a really, really big house. It's a really big space. There's definitely an opportunity for me to be left alone all the time, which is great. But there are also things that we kind of bump heads with, and that can be really frustrating, because I was telling this to John the other day, like, even if I've lived here for 2 years, I still feel like a guest in the house, and I can't really shake that feeling of feeling like a guest. So I would never, like, invite my own friends over here, like, without asking, or, like, I wouldn't really do anything without asking, like, can't really decorate or anything like that, can't, like, introduce my own things into the house, like, my own mugs or dishes or appliances. That's a big one. No. So, everything kind of has its own way around here, and I kind of had to follow the flow of that, which can definitely be really difficult. John and I come from really different backgrounds, and I have a really young mother, and we didn't really grow up in a great place, and we didn't really have money, and I had a lot of brothers. So this is kind of just like a very large empty house, hardwood floor, beautiful, original, quiet, like no TV kind of thing. And I even mentioned on my Tumblr post, my middle brother came here and then we went to the haunted house, but I was like, let me invite my brother over. He's like, never come. Like, I'd love an ally, like, have my brother come over. So I picked him up at the train station and brought him here, and we hung out in the living room, and I remember him saying, like, "Where's the TV?" And, like, I know that it's like, oh, he asked for the TV, oh, millennials, all this generation, all they want this TV, but for me, like, where I come from, where I grew up, our TV was always on, and it was the epicenter of our household. Someone's always sitting in front of it, the couch is right there, we eat in front of the TV, we argue in front of the TV. When I come home to visit my parents, the TV doesn't go off. It's on, I sit down, we make fun of the newscasters, we put on something new, my mom will put on something she's been watching all week, getting into, and that's kind of just exactly what my house is like. I don't know if that kind of, like, reveals, like, our background and our education and whatever, but, like, I don't know. I don't want to say poor people, but, like, our TV was always on. And I think it really opened up a world of communication for us. We always had something to talk about, and there was always a place in my house where you could go where someone else would be. So, like, if you ever felt alone, or if something bad ever happened to you, like, I know in middle school, like, I wouldn't want to tell my parents, like, oh, my 50-cent boyfriend broke up with me, he's not responding to me on AIM. I would just go upstairs, wrapped in this blanket, and sit on the couch with them. And I didn't feel alone. And that's something that my brother, me, my other brother, like, that's how we grew up. And when my brother came here, and there was just silence and no TV, and just, like, a sitting room, like a formal living room, it just didn't really feel right. and he kind of knew that, and that coldness kind of stays with me all the time. But I don't know, because if John and I lived at my house, like my parents' house, we'd have no personal space. It would be like 6 people to a shower, like. But I don't know, that is just what I'm used to. A little messy, and nothing's really perfect, and there's not really any rules or structure, and you know, if you use a dish, you don't have to clean it right then and there. No one's gonna police your activity throughout the house, and that's just how I grew up, and I'd like to think I'm doing okay. I like to think that I have a set of ethics that really work for me, and that's the environment that they were developed in. So, I don't know, like, at my house, you can leave a couple crumbs in the toaster, like, I don't know. So, I would say it's getting a little old, and John kind of tells me, like, you know, if you feel a certain way, why don't you say something? And then it goes back to, well, I feel like a guest in the house, and I'm never not gonna feel that way, because it's not, like, a really inviting environment. So that's how I feel. And I feel bad, like, saying that. And I feel bad saying that to John, but I don't know. I thought this question was cool. Did you have any pets growing up? And I did. We had a ton of pets, just shoved in with all the other people who lived in our house. I had a couple. I had an iguana. He was cool. His name was Bud, B-U-D. I named him, so that's kind of weird. I got him down the shore and then brought him home, and he was super chill. He lived for a while, but I had a dog, and my dog ate my iguana. She was cool. She was a Bichon Frise. My mom and I say Freeze because we're from Kensington, but she was super cool. I loved her. She was my whole life dog. I got her when I was a baby, so we grew up together. I loved her so much. She was cool. I think that breed is like hypoallergenic, so she didn't really shed. Her hair kind of grew into coils. So I loved her. She was a great like dog for a kid. I remember like whenever I was grounded, I would be like, well, can I like walk the dog? My mom would be like, yeah, walk the dog. And I like, it felt like I was sneaking out because I would take her like over to Justine's house. And Justine had a dog, so that was always super cool. It was great for me to have a dog. She passed away when I was 19. That sucked. But, I had a hamster, and my dog ate the hamster. I remember it messed my mom up so bad, she called out of work. She was like, this dog ate the hamster. And I had a field trip that day, so she made me go to school. But I think she would have let me stay home, because we were both really messed up on the hamster. I had a cat. Her name was Mocha. I loved her. When I lived in the trailer park, like, she was kind of an indoor-outdoor cat. I was young. I didn't really know about her. So whenever I would leave, she would always follow me. Like, she would follow me all the way to Justine's and then follow me home. It felt really cool. Like, I had this, like, shadow always following me, like, always a little best friend. And she was really cool. She would let me hold her. She would never get really mad. She had feline leukemia, so she was our only cat, but she lived for a really long time on her own. She was just always very small, but in great spirits and in, like, visible good health. So when we moved up the street into, like, row homes, and the row homes were in a development that kind of had, like, rules, like, my mom told me this later. There was a woman, like, my mom planted all these flowers outside, but apparently your front, whatever it is, like, your front of your house, the way it's supposed to look, was supposed to fit certain guidelines, and my mom didn't know. So the lady reported my mom for that. She reported my mom, I don't know, for parking weird. And then Mocha, my cat, who was always an indoor-outdoor cat, was outside, and the lady caught her and took her to the ASPCA, and, you know, she had feline leukemia and no tags, so they put her down. So one day I came home and the woman came up to me to apologize, and I didn't understand why. So this woman is apologizing to me about the cat, and I'm with my mom, and I'm like, what is she talking about? And my mom sent me inside, and later the woman sent us flowers, and I never remember what she looked like, but I remember, like, it was one of my first experiences, like, feeling, this is fucked up, but, like, true hate. And I wanted to fuck that lady up, because she caught my cat and basically sent it to its death. Like, if you have a cat with feline leukemia, like, you can live with the cat, you just can't get other cats. But it's not a death sentence for cats. So she was my best friend. So that fucked me up for years. I remember I didn't leave the house. I wouldn't come out of my room. My mom actually went to Justine's house, picked up Justine, and brought Justine to my house, knocked on the door, pushed Justine in my room, closed the door, and was like, be with your fucking friend. My blinds were, like, closed. It messed me up forever. And then after that, like, we got another cat. His name was Butters, but he was really mean. Butters was never nice. So when he got out, he never wanted to come back in. He knew where the house was because he would sit on our porch all the time, but if you went after him, he would fuck you up. I remember he had 2 extra toes on his foot, and they would all scratch you. And that was kind of it until I became an adult. So I had lots of pets growing up, but all very tragic ends. And a girl who I work with, like, her dog recently passed away, and I kind of told her that, like, we grow up and our dogs are sometimes the first experience we have with death. So, and they're the first experience we have with a lot of things, responsibility, things like that. Like, I think getting kids a pet is a great idea, but I also think that it's really tragic. And it's why I had a ton of hesitation with getting Ethan, because I have such a sensitive heart, and I don't know. I just want Ethan to be okay. And I really love Ethan. He, like, comes to his name, which is really unique, I feel like. But, we got him so young that I feel like he thinks he's people. This 5-fact Friday has no structure. Here's my favorite one. If you were in vegan jail and placed in vegan death row and had the vegan warden give you your vegan last meal before they gave you the vegan chair, what would that meal be? ... vegan. When I first got this message, I thought it was gonna be that one where it's like, if you were stranded on a desert island and the only inhabitants were pigs, would you eat them? And I'm always like, what do the pigs eat? Because I'd eat that. What would I eat? So when I used to work on South Street, there is a bar called Tattooed Moms, and there's also this place called Vegan Tree. So my last vegan meal, Tattooed Moms does a Meatless Monday, and I don't know what they put in their cheesesteak because I would recreate it at home. I feel like there's this place called Hip City Veg, and I know where they get their meat, okay? But I don't know where Tattooed Moms gets their vegan meat. I think about it all the time. And John's like, oh, I don't want to go to the South Street, there's no parking. And I'm like, okay, but I love Tattooed Moms. If you ever are in Philly, definitely go. It's super cool. The owner is amazing. I love him. He is handsome and very involved with like South Street and Philadelphia, and I feel like he does great things. He like does a lot of like youth art like shows and benefits and stuff, things that benefit like youth art stuff. If you've ever seen that magazine I was in, alright, let me get up and show you. Ooh, he does like a lot of work with Qcknd magazine. Let's see. I actually think I'm too old to be in Qcknd now. but this is me. But, they quoted me saying that because I'm a true feminist. But, anyway, he owns Tattooed Moms, and my bias aside, their Meatless Monday menu is incredible, and now I drink beer, so they have like half-price drafts. If I was on vegan death row, just send me to Tattooed Moms and I'll die there. Also, Vegan Tree on 6th and South is really good. I think it's just a husband and wife who own it, and just they cook. So if you go there on like a Saturday, you wait forever and you kind of want to be like, I have my food safety license, like let me just help you. I'll just make it for myself. I fucking want it so bad. They have like bubble tea and smoothies that are made for real and not just with syrup. I get chow mein every time I go. They're actually really cool at Vegan Tree too. When they first opened, they had these really cute Panda Apple, the panda bear with the apple hat, Post-its, and you could write on them like to do reviews. I would draw like little cartoons, and they actually, I didn't know they were for anything. Like a year later, they framed them all and put them on the wall. So I like to go there and be like, that's my Panda Apple. They appreciate me here. I used to have a bubble tea frequency card, but I actually don't use it anymore because I want to support them as much as possible, because I always feel like every time I go there, they're in like such a rush. So I always tip them really well too. And that would be my last meal. That would be my last second meal. Because if I'm on death row, I'm getting 2 meals. I'm a big girl. You're just gonna eat your hand? So this is 5-Pack Friday. Sorry about last week's 5-Pack Friday. I hope the Tumblr 50 questions tag satiated your feelings. It was really cool. I didn't expect John to pop in. That wasn't like planned, because I've honestly been like, someone was like, do the 1, 2, 3 boyfriend tag with him. I asked him and he was like, that's corny. And I was like, it's not. And then I was like, oh, do the boyfriend does my makeup tag? And he's like, no. And then I was like, oh yeah, like I don't want him to mess up my makeup. Like what if he presses too hard and breaks my contour stick? So that was really cool that he came in. Someone was like, you guys should get drunk and do a video. But, I don't know. I never know when John's gonna pop in, but I'm always excited. Happy that he's there. Stay tuned for all my convention footage. Gonna bring my camera to the tattoo convention. That's gonna be super fun. See all my favorites. And yeah. The X-Files, that's hot shit. I think I'm gonna do an episode about my ex-roommate who was fucking crazy, because someone actually reminded me of that. They were like, I know you got a crazy roommate story, and I was like, I do, but I don't know if I want to talk shit on them. But that'll be on the X-Files. Everyone was like, this is my favorite series, don't ever stop it. I'm like, well, this is 5-Pack Friday. Stay tuned always for different things. I'm gonna have a monthly favorites video, but it's pretty late. But give me a thumbs up if you're into that monthly favorites. I know it's super late, but I've been so busy working. It's lame. Okay, I love you guys. Bye. Hey everybody, it's Qqcknd, and so last week, 5-Pack Friday was a little delayed. We had a little issue, and then it just never ever happened.